Matt,
Big Media. How you doing, buddy?
how you doing? Geez, man, it's been a while since you've been able to fight here in Ohio, right?
It has. Yeah, what
How's
was it?
that?
2011?
Should that even be possible? Shouldn't you have accidentally fought here since then?
Well, they haven't had a fight here.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How has that felt in the kind of in the lead up to this, knowing that you get to do it at home? You'll have a lot of friendly faces that you'll probably see on the walkout and stuff like that. Is that going to be meaningful to you, or are you kind of that savvy guy who's been around and done it all that just goes, you know what, it's just another night. It's just another night of work.
Yeah, that's it. It's just another night, man. There's a arena and a cage and a guy inside there that wants to mess me up. So that's where my focus is, man, is inside that cage, what happens in there, and me being ready to go. And, all the other stuff kind of doesn't matter. But it'll be nice after the fight. My kids will be right here with me and all my friends and family. So that's what's after the fight is when it really kicks in and when it's cool.
At the same time, not going to, mention the R word or anything like that, but when you look back one day, will it be kind of special to be able to have done it here one more time rather
Absolutely.
than, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we can make it every year again or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like it used to be back in the
Yeah,
day.
it kind of used to. Yeah, during the Arnold's.
You got back on track, obviously in a pretty big way last summer. So talk about the opportunity to be able to build on that and get a little bit of momentum here.
Well, I mean, that's cool in theory and all. Like, I look at every fight as its own thing, The momentum's a cool idea and all, but, when that cage door closes, no one gives a shit about your momentum, and it doesn't mean a thing once you get in there and the fists are flying. So that's all my focus is right now. That's all I care about right now. Let's get in there and be the best I can be so that I can smash this guy before he smashes me.
Talk about that matchup because, people look at your guys' fights and they say, man, this is, on paper, this is one of those fight of the nights before it happens kind of situations. You're both kind of that gritty blue collar, not afraid to take one to give one back kind of fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think me and Barbarina are certainly going to make for a good matchup. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. But I think I'm a lot better than him. So I think a lot of times we expect these fight of the nights and they don't end up that way, right? Or we expect a boring fight and it ends up being exciting. That's the sport. So for me, I think is a very good likelihood that I just go in there and make him look bad. So that's what I plan on doing, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for a fight of the night. I'm looking to go showcase myself.
This fight was supposed to take place a few months ago. It
Yes.
obviously got pushed back. Was there any point that you wondered if maybe it wouldn't get rebooked? And I guess how excited were you that it did get rebooked? Because obviously it seems like you feel like this is a matchup that you can showcase yourself pretty well in.
Yeah, when I come down with the COVID, I mean, I called Sean Shelby. I said, let's just rebook it for next week or something. And he was like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen with your COVID, So I had to get over that first. Took a little bit of time to make sure that I was going to be completely healthy. When I was healthy, I just called him and said, look, I'm ready to go. Let's get something booked. And just so happened that Barbarina tweeted like right around the same time that he wanted me again. And I said, all right, well, let's make this easy on Sean. Let's go.
He talked to us earlier about, basically, being a fan of yours from way back. You'll probably run into that situation a few more times if you keep doing this, right? I mean, because you've been around, you've been in there.
I've run into it before, yeah.
Yeah. When you look back on this one day, what do you think you'll feel about situations like that where you're fighting guys who say, man, I love that guy as a fighter. Like, I'm a fan of that guy as a fighter, and I got to fight him.
Well, I've had that same situation myself, so I know exactly what that's like. I don't have any idea. I don't know. It's something I never really thought about. I said I felt that way. Like I fought Condit. I was a huge fan of his before I ever got in the UFC. Watching him in the WEC, that was probably one of the biggest moments. Or Almeida, Ricardo Almeida. Like I was a huge fan of his in Pride. And then ended up fighting him. And Damian Maia. I mean, lots of guys, man. So I don't know. I look back and. We're all just warriors, man. So I don't think all that stuff really means a whole lot.
How much longer do you keep doing this? I mean, I guess I said I wasn't going to
10
mention the
years.
R word, but what's that?
10 years.
You want to do it 10 more years?
We'll go to 50. So 9 years. I forgot I'm 41.
I mean, anymore, there's no reason why that can't be a thing, right?
I don't see any reason why not. You know, I plan on going till the wheels fall off, man. You know, outside of my brain, you know, I mean, I got to keep my brain intact, but it's been healthy so far. I did the, you know, I do the Cleveland Clinic study. I'm sure you guys all know about. My scores have improved over time, actually, which is crazy, you know. So, look, as long as my brain's intact, man, like I can just keep going. But who knows, man? I take it one fight at a time. So, you know, that all could change next week, you know, and be like, you know what, screw this. You know, I think me and Kim were just talking about this the other day. Like, it's not the fighting that's hard, man. I could do this another 20 years. I feel like it's the life, man. Life itself gets in the way, and if there's too much life going on, then it gets in the way of fighting. But in terms of just being motivated, disciplined, and enjoying and loving fighting, I could do it basically till I die, I think.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there, when you talk about, you know, some of the names that you rambled off, I mean, it's like a who's who of guys that have been around for a while. Are there still guys that are still in the game that you've always respected, that you always want, that you still would like to get in there? No beef, no, not even worried about getting the title or whatever, but other guys that you're like, man, I would have thought that we would have crossed paths by now. Are there any that are still in there that you would like to, but just because out of respect that they're still grinding like you are?
That's a good question. You know, I watch the fights as a fan, but I don't really pay attention like that, I guess. That's a good question, to be honest. I'm sure there is. That no one's coming to mind straight away, but I'm 100% sure that there is.
When you mentioned, another thing you just mentioned was the Cleveland Clinic. It seems like we don't hear a lot of fighters talking about that as much as we think we would, you know, knowing what they're trying to do and the studies and trying to keep track of all the, you know, the onset of CT and all this other stuff. When you talk to other fighters, are you hearing it that maybe we aren't? Do you think fighters are utilizing that like they should be?
You know, I haven't heard other fighters talk about it either, to be honest. So,
Yeah, really
maybe
don't.
they are, maybe they're not. And I don't think I even went there last year. So, you know, I originally got set up on it like just to get a free MRI. I think it was when I turned 35 because I had to get the brain scan, and my manager at the time was like, "Hey, you can get it for free if you do this study." And I was like, "All right, well."
For people that maybe are watching this that don't know, can you explain what the study is and what it does for you?
Yeah, I think they have 700 or 800 combat sports athletes involved, and they do a brain scan and cognitive tests, and you're there for a good like 2 hours doing all these tests. And I guess they're just studying the brain, you know, over time, right? So every year you're supposed to go back and you get rechecked and say how many fights you've had, and then they're kind of studying, okay, this guy had this many, you know, putting you into groups, like this guy had this many fights and this is what happened to his brain. And again, mine seems to be getting better. So,
Well, with that, what do you think that you're doing?
like fine wine.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think that you're doing, or what's maybe changed that your brain is actually functioning better than you were years past?
You know, I can't say 100% sure, but you know, anytime I get a rocked or anything, I make sure like I just stop right there. Even, you know, not even necessarily concussion, but if I just get hit hard, I just stop right there in training. You got to get the pride and the ego out of it. I take a lot of supplements specifically for my brain. If I do get a concussion or I've only been knocked out once in my life, and after I did that, I made sure that I ate ketogenically for about a month, which has been shown to help with TBI. Other than that, you know, I think a lot of it's just, you know, living healthy and being, you know, exercising and taking care of yourself.
You know, Brian was coming out here talking like your guys' fight was going to be the People's Champ Award or the People's Fight of the Night. I mean, do you see your styles as being, both of you mutually are crowd-pleasing styles?
Oh, absolutely. It's very possible. I think it's very possible. that the fight ends up like that. And I think that's really going to be up to me. If I'm not performing at 100% my best, I think this fight could turn into a real war, and it'd be a war of attrition. If I perform at my best, this would be a walkthrough for me.
Awesome. Best of luck.
I know Dorian Price is back for this fight
Sir.
camp, and one of the best ever to do it in mixed martial arts with Muay Thai. Can you talk about Dorian's Muay Thai and how that has an effect on your fighting style?
Man, I'm so happy to have Dorian back in the corner. It's been a little while. He wasn't able to go to Abu Dhabi because of passport issues, and yeah, so it's just great having him, man. He's been an influence. He was my first coach ever. He was the first person, one of the first people I ever met when I walked into a martial arts gym, and here he is, 15, however many, 16, 20 years later. So, we're together till the end, man.
Road Warriors.
Yeah.
So, reflecting on the past and knowing that he was the first coach that when you walked into a gym, you're kind of that for a lot of kids today. Your gym, Immortal Martial Arts Center, is up and running here in Columbus. And I don't really hear you talk a whole lot publicly. And this, I think, would be a great opportunity to hear, what's going on with the kids program. Because I know that you do a lot for the kids, and there's a lot of unique opportunities there.
Yeah, that's one of the most fulfilling things in my life at this point, being in there with the kids, watching them succeed, watching them grow as human beings, and watching them just get stronger, more durable, more resilient people, man, and building that next generation into something powerful, and just getting them away from the constant influence of weakness they got around them, like everywhere they go, you just see this pussy culture around them, and we bring them in and we toughen them up and make them strong, confident, grow their self-esteem, and that's going to be a beautiful thing for the next generation. But they may be the few and the far between is the unfortunate part, but I'm happy to be a part of that, and I'm happy to do anything I can to promote the next generation.
So Mark Coleman being in your corner this weekend is something pretty special for not just you, but all UFC fans. I think lately a lot of people have been super excited to hear the news about him being sober. Kind of explain to everybody what your experience is having the quote-unquote new Mark Coleman.
Yeah, he's a different guy now, and he's always, even back when he wasn't sober, he was still like just an inspiration and just a powerful person to have in the room. But now with him being sober, it's just the next level, and it's just such a great thing to see. And he's helping me, of course, but he's also helping a lot of the amateurs and the lower pros. And a lot of you seen AJ Dobson fight in the UFC, and so he's just out there on the mats every day, and that's what makes him happy. And I think it helps him stay sober, and just he's a powerful force in any room, man.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck on Saturday.
Absolutely, brother.